Small changes to small words can have a huge impact. About a year ago, I was calling to my 3 kids. Kids, we have to go, come on out. Nothing. So I called to them a little bit louder. Kids, we have to go, we have to get to a birthday party. They listened this time. Only they trudged on out with scowls on their faces. And my 5-year-old, he looks me directly in the eyes and he says, "Mom, do we have to?" I did say birthday party. Bouncy houses, magicians, cake. I didn't get it, and I didn't want to argue. So I looked him back directly in his eyes and said, "No, we don't have to. We get to, and I think this sounds like fun." In an instant, there was mayhem. Shoes and jackets were on, they were running out the door, and they're screaming, "We get to go to a birthday party." It's like we were in an alternate reality from 5 minutes earlier. And maybe we were. I changed the words have to with get to, and I may have changed their reality as a result. Words shape the way we feel. Have to triggered a to-do list, an obligation. Get to invoked an opportunity. From that moment onward, I decided I only want to use the words have to with things that we truly have to do, like taking out the trash, washing the dishes, preparing our tax returns. Those things aren't going to take care of themselves. And from a purely practical standpoint, I'm comfortable calling those obligations. A good friend's birthday party does not belong on that list. I'm a cognitive behavioral therapist. Cognitive behavioral therapy is based on the premise that our thoughts drive the way that we feel. And many of those thoughts, they're automatic. They come to us like fact, when they may likely be fiction. I work with people to find those automatic thoughts. We take them, we challenge them by comparing them with reality. And then together, we create new thoughts, ones that are intentional and appropriate. We replace the unfair with the fair, and we drive more genuine feelings. Change our thoughts, and we change how we feel. Words work the same way. The words that we use, they're quite automatic. And the words that we use, they shape the thoughts that we have, which shape our feelings. Sometimes those automatic words, they can be really helpful. Things like please, thank you, excuse me, or watch out. Sometimes those words, they're less helpful, and they can even be hurtful. We can use the same process that we use with thoughts with our words. We can take our automatic words and we can challenge them by comparing them with reality. Then we can replace our automatic language with words that are intentional. When we change our words, we change how we feel. When we change our words, we change how other people feel too. I work with people to live their best life. That's my job. So it's probably not a surprise that I actively invest in cultivating an ideal life for myself and my family too. I engage in practices like smiling more to be happier, standing tall to activate my confidence, using positive language to invite positivity. That moment when I was speaking to my kids, forget ideal. I wasn't even honoring my basic truth. When I told my kids that we have to go to the birthday party, I didn't mean to convey to them that this was a burden. I was excited. And my words betrayed me. This practice, it's not about being aspirational. This is about being authentic. And being authentic, that is saying what we mean. Changing my words has changed my life, and I would love if it changed yours. Here are 2 ways you can start. The first, I've already introduced, the have-tos. Find them, and wherever they are truly meant to express an obligation, go ahead and leave them. Everywhere else, let's replace. The first replacement is with nothing. We can remove the word and change our statement altogether. Bring it to the present, make it more active. We are going to the party. When we're talking about something that's fun or an opportunity, or when we want to connect to gratitude, we can replace with the words get to. This is what I do with my kids. We get to go to the party. When we're honoring a choice that we're making, we can replace this with intention. I choose to go to the gym. I'm committed to eating healthy. Now, if we are neither choosing to or committed to either one of those things, let's scrap those statements altogether. We do this. We tell ourselves all these have-to statements, and we say this to ourselves as though it's motivating. Then we follow those thoughts with the second word that I'd like us to reconsider. I have to be healthier, but I don't cook. I have to be healthier, but I don't like vegetables. I have to be healthier, but it's Tuesday. Really, the minute I've used that word but with myself, I've already let myself know being healthier, it's just not a huge priority for me. We do this, we contradict ourselves like this all of the time. We do this with ourselves, and we do this with other people. Maybe there are some statements here that I'm about to share with you that you've been on the receiving end for. Or maybe you've made these remarks yourself. I'm sorry I made you feel that way, but you've really been working hard, but great presentation today, but I love you, but this last one hurts. Can we all commit right here, right now, to never follow the words I love you with the word but? But indicates contrast or an exception. When we use it to string two thoughts together, instead of offering a more balanced viewpoint, we negate the first half of what we said, or we make it conditional. And this is especially important because we tend to be complimentary before we are critical. When we use the word but, we dismiss half of what we are saying, which means we speak our truth and then deny it. We get to do better. Like before, let's find and replace. And I know some of you are very creative. By replacement, we are not going to go with the source style here. Although, however, nevertheless, yet, those are just fancier versions of the word but. Like before, let's find the buts and let's stop and replace. The first replacement, we can just remove it altogether. We can take this and make it two discrete sentences. I'm sorry I made you feel this way. It wasn't my intention. We can also replace the word but with the word and. You've really been working hard, and more practice will be helpful. Great presentation today, and next time, let's include a pie chart. Where the word but prioritizes one of those statements, the word and really celebrates them both. And while we're talking about this, let's stop for a moment and think about what happens when we reply to somebody, starting with the word but. It rarely, if ever, goes over very well. When we reply to somebody with the word but, it comes off as defensive. It's almost like we're saying, and here's why you're wrong. Let's use yes and instead. Yes says, I hear you. And says, let's discuss. And when we use the words yes and, all the words that follow, they naturally change. So we go from being in combat to being in conversation. Changing these words changes everything. If you're ready to join me, you can consider this your official start. Now that you know, you know. The unconscious will become more conscious. And some of you, you're going to feel really overwhelmed at the sheer number of times that you find yourself using these words. That's okay. Most of you are going to find a small number of these, a small fraction, and that's okay too. Work with whatever you find. And when you find them, replace right there in the moment. This is easiest in writing. So before you send that text or you send that email or you hand in that television script, give it a glance. Wherever you see a have to or a but, delete, and if need be, replace. In conversation, this can feel a little more vulnerable or maybe even intrusive. And it really is the best way to retrain your brain. Go ahead, give yourself permission to stop and restate. People appreciate the intention, and version 2.0 is better for you and for them. And while we are doing all this on the outside, let's make sure that we're doing this on the inside too. Change all those have-tos and buts within our own thoughts. So we do this. We do this again and again and again. We are changing a habit here. And for anybody who's ever changed a habit, it can feel a little uncomfortable at first, until we get far enough along that it's the old routine that starts to feel uncomfortable, especially using that word and instead of but. People tell me that makes them feel very awkward. It almost feels wrong. I promise you. Dismissing half of what we say is far worse than tripping over our words for a little while. Now, finding our own words, hearing ourselves say this is hard. It's really unconscious. I've spent the last 10 years trying to change some of these words. It doesn't work the other way around. Hearing other people use these words is almost too easy. You're going to begin to hear it and read it everywhere. And you might suddenly consider yourself an honorary member of the word police. Yeah, ready and able to help everyone with their word choices. Let's not do that. Instead, where we can teach, let's teach. With our kids and in our classrooms, anywhere that we have an explicit arrangement to share knowledge, let's share. Where we can invite, let's invite. Create a team challenge for anyone who's interested. Post what you're doing. Ask people to help you, and maybe they'll be inspired to make their own changes. And with everyone else, let's keep our mouths shut. And let's use this knowledge as a way to meet them with compassion, to hear them authentically, even when their words don't match. People don't mean to be so dismissive. Let's save some of that compassion for ourselves, for when we slip up. You will make mistakes. I know I do. People tell me all the time that they feel misunderstood. And it might be because the words that they are using breed misunderstanding. And for all the same reasons they feel misunderstood, they're struggling to understand others. These techniques, they're not new. You may have stumbled on them before in books and in blogs or your work in therapy. The concept that words shape the way that we think and feel, this goes all the way back to the days of Aristotle. Here's what is new. By changing our language, we could change language forever. When we start to use intentional words, the babies and the children who are learning language for the very first time, the words that they learn are appropriate and intentional. Their automatic language is authentic. And when that happens, this talk becomes obsolete. Small changes to small words, huge impact.